Hello and welcome. This is Angie with thecountryshootcottage.net. So I've been getting a ton of questions on whether you can do sublimation with a regular standard household iron. Do you need a heat press or an easy press to actually use infusible ink, sublimation markers, sublimation prints, that type of thing? So I'm going to use this standard household iron. This is actually like the cheapest one they sell at Walmart. And we are going to see if I can do sublimation on some small tags. So let's get started and I'll show you the products that I'm going to use today. And as always, I will link to those in the description below so you can hop down there if you want to see where to purchase anything I'm using. All right, so we're going to use a couple of different sublimation blanks just because it's what I have on hand. These are small enough that they will fit on my iron where there are not any holes. So I made the design small enough where it would fit where there are not any holes. And then the blanks are fairly small. Now, if the blank hangs off and is over some of these holes, that'll be okay, as long as the design itself fits on this flat portion of my iron. I have my iron heating up to the highest possible setting. I don't have any water in it, won't be using any steam. So we're going to do two different blanks, test on both of these, and I'm going to do one with my iron, and then I'm going to do one with my heat press, and then we're going to look at the differences. And we're going to do that with both Artistry markers, which is Sublimation ink markers, and I've drawn 2 H's on the same copy paper. And then we'll also do the same thing with Infusible ink, and I've cut 2 H's from Infusible ink and I've weeded those. I'll probably put the Infusible ink H's on the hearts and then the drawn H's on the square keychains. Then you'll also need some kind of matte protective paper, heat resistant tape. You might need like a rag to wipe any debris off of your blanks, and then your iron, of course. And for this comparison, I'm also using a heat press just so you can see what the differences are if you only have an iron. All right, so we're going to start with this keychain blank, and I'm just going to put this Sublimation ink face down on top of the blank. Now, this is drawn backwards. It doesn't matter because it's an H, but if you were using another letter, be sure to mirror before you draw your design. And then we'll locate it on our blank. And we're just going to use some heat resistant tape to hold it into place. And then we'll do a piece of protective paper on the mat, our blank with the paper that has sublimation ink on top. And this is just regular copy paper. Then we'll do another piece of protective paper. And now what we want to do is locate this H so that it is on the flat part of our iron. And then the directions say to press for 60 seconds. So I'm just going to locate this design. Start my timer. So my timer just went off. Now we can remove the iron, remove the protective paper. We'll just peel back our design and see if it transferred to our keychain. You do want to be careful here because this may be hot, but I can just peel back the corner and I can see that it did transfer. And it transferred pretty well, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. But if it didn't transfer, you could actually lay this back down and you could press this again. So if we wanted to press it for another few seconds, you would just put it back down, press it again for a few seconds, make sure that the whole thing is transferred, and then lift it up again. Then we can just peel back to reveal our design on our keychain. And there you have sublimation with an iron. Now I'll make this same keychain with my heat press just to see what happens and see if the print looks any different. But for now, I'm going to set this to the side, and we are going to try Infusible Ink with just our iron. And these blanks were not in packaging or anything, so I'm just going to dust those off a little bit. Then we'll locate our H. Once again, protective paper, blank, protective paper, and then we'll press once again using the flattest part of our iron over the H, and we'll start our timer. And I'm just going to do these for 60 seconds again. Then we peel back and reveal this. As you can see, so the Infusible Ink really needs to be super still, and I moved the iron, which is the benefit of a heat press. I'm going to try this again with another H and see if I can get it to press without the smearing on the sides. If I can't, we'll just say Infusible Ink is a little bit harder to do, but we can try it again and just make sure we don't move. And I might tape it down this time and just kind of ensure this is sticky, but maybe not sticky enough. All right, so here's my second attempt, already pressed. As you can see, I added some tape around the outer edge. Now I'm just going to kind of lift and peek under there, and it has transferred. So we'll go ahead and remove this. Again, you just want to make sure it's cool enough, or use gloves. I'm going to use a rag just to make sure you don't burn yourself. So this looks much better. So there's one lesson in making sure that your project doesn't move as you're pressing with an iron. So there's Infusible Ink with an iron, and here is Artistry markers with an iron. So you can see both of these pressed really well. Now I'm going to head to my heat press, and I'm going to do both of these projects over there so we can compare and contrast. And here are our finished samples. So these on this side have been made with just a regular standard household iron. These on this side were made with my Caesar heat press. So if we compare the markers, maybe there are some lighter spots on the iron version, but they are fairly similar. And if we compare the two using Cricut Infusible Ink, I really don't see a ton of difference. So I definitely think you can do sublimation with your iron. I would caution you to choose small designs that you can cover completely with the flat part of the iron and not get any of the ink where these holes are, because your heat will not be as consistent. The answer is yes, you can do sublimation with your standard household iron. However, I would keep the projects fairly small because you can get issues where there are holes. Now, they do sell irons that do not have steam holes. I'll try to find one and link to it in the description below. But I feel like if you're going to invest in a special iron just for sublimation, you might as well just invest in like the smallest easy press, like just my opinion. But overall, the iron did basically just as well as my heat press. And I did put these on my Caesar heat press, so it was like a consistent heat all the way around, proper pressure, that type of thing. But I was able to accomplish that same task with my iron instead. So I hope this answered that question for you. If you have any more questions about anything we've covered today, please drop down in the comments section and ask away. If this helped you, answered your question, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, head to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos like this all the time and you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.